J-Man here for another comic book review. Joe Fixit, number 4. If you've been following my other Joe Fixit reviews, then you know that I absolutely love this comic. This is the best Marvel comic that I've read in a long time. It is Peter David, who did a legendary 10-year run on Hulk, Grey Hulk, one of my favorites, and Spider-Man. Both these guys are in this comic. I love the iteration of Grey Hulk, whether it's just like a Savage Grey Hulk, the night and day thing, Joe Fixit, anything like that. I don't know why. I think I'd started with that Peter Todd comic run. I did give away all those comics. I am trying to get them all back now, so I feel bad that I gave them away. But I'm trying to get them all back, at least the Grey Hulk stuff. And this comic has been taking me back to that time. It's been so good. I think I've been giving every issue a 9 or a 10. I think I gave a couple issues a 10 out of 10. It's just been crazy. I'm going to explain why I'm giving these books so high. I rate everything using my SPACE system: story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 for bad, 2 for amazing. If you get a perfect score on a category, that doesn't mean that you're the best ever in that category. So if I give the artistry a 2 out of 2 score, I'm not saying this art is better than Alex Ross. If I give the storyline a 2 out of 2, I'm not saying this is better than Watchmen's story. It doesn't work that way. I'm comparing this comic to itself. You're buying a comic called Joe Fixit. It's issue 4. You have expectations. How well did it reach those expectations? Okay, every comic book or a movie or whatever is a promise. It's a promise to you saying, we promise that this Joe Fixit is going to give you everything that you want from a comic book about Joe Fixit. And how well they deliver on that promise, that's the way the ratings go. I'm going to give the storyline of this one a 2 out of 2. I've been giving this comic story 1.5 or 2 out of 2 on every issue, I think. And if not, just consider the other issues a 10 out of 10. This thing has been so perfectly executed, in my opinion, because everything that happens in the story leads to confrontation. The Incredible Hulk, whether he's savage, smart, whatever, is an action character. He fights. Hulk smash. He doesn't knit sweaters or have philosophical conversations. He does in his mind, and he can, I suppose, knit a sweater if he wanted to, if that sweater led, or knitting that sweater led to a fight scene. The way that Hulk needs to be structured, in my opinion, is always leading towards fights, action, battles, whatever. Some of these other comics have lost their way in terms of the character. Batman can be a detective. He can solve a mystery. And if he's solving a mystery with a new villain that we don't know about, or an old classic villain that we're not sure is behind it, that can be interesting. One of the issues with the Batman film, for example, is that it's a 3-hour mystery, but we know it's Riddler, and we know Gotham City is already corrupt. So the things he finds out through his investigation, everyone is corrupt, his father may have even been corrupt. I don't like that, by the way, but anyway. And the Riddler's behind it, and he's trying to expose everything. But as an audience member, I already know that Gotham City is all corrupt. So what is this? This isn't a mystery. This is just 3 hours of Batman walking around and not really solving much, because I already know the answers. If they're going to do a mystery, the villain needs to be unknown. It can't be like Columbo, where we know who the villain is and then it's just Columbo being a fun character, because Batman's not the same, right? Batman's mystery, it's got to be like a Murder, She Wrote. You're like, who's the villain or whatever. And in that one, there's always a couple of people you could kind of figure out who it is. You could do it that way. Batman can also be a vigilante character. He could fight guys all the time and beat up guys and go patrolling. So he could do a lot of things with Batman. Hulk needs to be action. Hulk needs to lead. This is what I want to see. When I see a cover like this, I think, yes, this is what I want. I didn't even notice Electro was up here, by the way. That's a fail on my part. I was so focused on this image, so I'm like, oh yeah, shit, Electro's in this. So that's why I'm giving the story a 2 out of 2. Look, it's a basic story. The Kingpin wants to take over, right? Duh. He comes over, he wants to take over the casino, Mr. Fixit is there. He fights. He figures out a way. He gets some kind of mist. He figures out a way to control Fixit. Turns him bad. In the last issue, he's fighting a bunch of guys. Spider-Man's there to try to keep the peace. So Kingpin has now brought in his enforcer guys, which is Electro and Rhino. He's forcing the other bosses to sign with him, and he's like, well, it's protection money, you know, that whole racket. In the meantime, Hulk has been fighting Spider-Man. Now they're gonna the thing is wearing off, right? So there's the antidote or whatever. So Spider-Man and Hulk are now gonna team up and fight the bad guys. That's the story. Look, it's a simple story, right? But it leads to action, and that's what it should do. This is what I expect. If you read Watchmen and you hear, oh, it's all this like philosophy and it's all this deconstruction of superheroes, then when you read Watchmen, you better get that, and you do get that. That's why Watchmen is 10 out of 10. It gives you everything it sets out to give you, and you get it, and then some. All right, 2 out of 2 for story. Pacing, 2 out of 2. It's very fast paced because it's like, here's a little bit of story, blah blah blah, right? It's like literally like, it's like a page. It's like quick page of story. So much is completed in one page, and then boom, right into the action. Okay, look at this. It's like fight, action. Okay, we can get into the art too. I'm giving the art 2 out of 2 because it fits with this. I love the way that this person, I don't even know who the artist is, draws Grey Hulk. It's awesome. Takes me right back. Obviously, Todd McFarlane is the best, but I love this art here. Okay, but look, action. Next page, action. Right? Action. So now we have a bunch of action. Now we go over here. Now we've got I never knew how to say this name. Is it Magia? Whatever, Magia. They're like so I don't know this guy's name. Can someone tell me in the comments who this is? I'm such a loser. I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, I'm a loser because I don't know who a comic book character is. No, so he's got Mass Marauder, Hydro Man, and Whiplash, and he's got those guys, and he's like, I want to get Kingpin out of here, and I want to get Hulk out of here. So that's 1 page of story, and then right after that, and there's an ad there. Right after that, we're back into the main thing. Got your enforcer guys there. There's a lot of great little funny things too, where these guys, there's a lot of like comedy in the art. I'm doing pacing is 2 out of 2. It's greatly paced. The art, and there's a lot of funny little things where it's like, look, so Kingpin's like saying, hey guys, you got to sign these things. And they're like, oh, they got the pages. And then Hulk busts in, and look at this, they're there, and then they immediately start signing like in one. That's I actually laughed. That's actually pretty funny. And then the most outrageous thing happens on this page. Okay, so he brings Spider-Man in. Something's up because you're like, well, wait a minute. I thought they're okay with each other, right? So Hulk throws Spider-Man down. Kingpin's like, unmask him. I've never seen this before. Please, for sure, let me know the issue if this has happened before, because I've never seen this ever. And it is absolutely brilliant and hilarious. I might make this my wallpaper. Okay, so Electro pulls Spider-Man's mask. He pulls the mask off. Like, boom, pulls it off. I'll show you him pulling it off. I'm going to try to oh, darn, I kind of showed it. Shoot. So he pulls the mask off, and that's what he sees. It's like Spider-Man had his face, Peter had his face painted as the Spider-Man mask. I've never laughed so hard in any comic ever. I think this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in a comic book. I'm not exaggerating. I was like, what is? At first I didn't understand what I was looking at. I'm like, that looks weird. Why is that his face? Like, what happened there? I'm like, no, they just painted his face. So guys, that is super funny. All right, give whoever thought of that, give that person a raise. Kingpin's like, what? I thought you were under my control. Ha ha ha! I'm not in your control. And then right into fighting, and then the rest of this book is fighting. Characters, I'm giving it 2 out of 2. I love Kingpin in this. He's just like such a dick. I love Hulk, obviously. I love Spider-Man in this. Electro was funny too, because Rhino's running around stomping around. Electro just hit somebody. He's like, hey, he's like, Dylan, what are you doing? He goes, I'm not wearing my costume. He goes, as soon as you put on that costume, Spider-Man shows up. And Rhino's like, oh, he's not going to show up in Vegas, and then he's already there, you know. All the characters in this were spot on. I think because and look, it's all fighting. It's still all fighting. The rest of this thing is just all fighting. And then at the very end, these guys show up, and it's going to be another fight next to be concluded. The saddest thing ever. The saddest 3 words, to be concluded. Why are they not giving Peter David? Just make Joe Fixit a comic monthly. Give it to Peter David. Let him, I don't know how old Peter David is or what's going on with his career, but let him end off on Hulk. If it is towards, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't follow anybody on Twitter. I don't follow any of the writers that I like on Twitter for fear that they're going to say or do something weird and I'm going to not like them. I don't have any political standings, but I don't like to hear about it when it comes to comic books, which is why if comic books start to get into that topic or reference real world things, like I saw one comic, I opened it up and there was like a protest or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I know it's, you know, comics have always done that. They've written things about the world and they've incorporated it. Obviously, some of my favorite shows, Star Trek does that. That's fine, but I'm just not looking for that right now. It's just, there's too much of it everywhere. It's like kind of seeped through every aspect of our lives and I'm just done with it. I love this book. It's back to basics action. It's adventure. And then maybe there are hidden things in this book that Peter David has put in that I didn't notice. I'm a Canadian. It's not as in our face over here. It is there. And you can say, you know, what you want about our system, but that's fine. But I haven't noticed anything in this comic. All I've noticed is action and fighting. And I think because Peter David's a bit of an old school guy, he wants to bring back that sort of, you know, classic Gray Hulk stuff. It's like there's turmoil between Banner and Fixit in their mind, but it doesn't overshadow the action. And it's perfectly done. I'm loving this book, 10 out of 10. I wish they would just hire Peter David full-time to do Joe Fixit. And then I would literally be like, that's my favorite. This might be, because I love the Spawn titles. You guys know that. I've been going crazy over this Frazetta stuff, like Death Dealer and everything. I love all that. When it comes down to it, and I know I bag on DC, Superman's my favorite character, and I bag on Marvel, even though I love, you know, Cyclops and Spider-Man, Hulk and Daredevil and those guys, Hawkeye. When it comes down to it, if you give me, you know, one of these guys, Spidey, Hulk, you know, if you give me a good Hulk, I'm gonna really love it. I'm just wired to like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, you know, Swamp Thing, Aquaman, you know, Daredevil, like I like West Coast Avengers, you know, like Thor, all those guys, Captain America. I'm wired to those. If you give me a good Captain America, I'm super in. Even if you give me an okay Captain America, I'm gonna like it more. But if you give me this crappy Captain America, then I'm done hard. Like I get angry hard. Like if the next issue of King Spawn, I'm gonna read that. The next King Spawn issue isn't that great, let's say. I'm like, well, that was not great. It's been good overall. I'm gonna get the next one, see how it goes. If I get a not great issue of Superman, it really pisses me off. So look, that's a bias. That's the standard. But I hold Superman and Hulk and Spider-Man, I hold them up way higher. These are childhood favorites. I have them inked on my body. I went through pain to show my love for these characters. I don't like when they're shat on. If Death Dealer issue 7 is a piece of trash comic, well, it's Death Dealer, like whatever, right? If Hulk's a crappy comic, that irritates me. Hulk's one of my favorites. I got a Hulk shelf. You can't see it. It's below that. It's below my 90s character shelf. So if Hulk sucks, whatever. But if Hulk is good, now maybe 10 out of 10 is crazy, right? Some of you might be thinking 10 out of 10, that's insane. But I'm based on my rating system and my hype level. This is the best Joe Fixit comic you can get. That's how it works. That's why I'm giving it 10 out of 10. Superman, whatever, that last one I just did got like 5.5, and it's like everyone lost their shit. Oh, why don't you like Superman? I was like, I love Superman, but this Superman comic sucks. So sorry guys, Hulk's winning the race. It's pretty weird when Gray Hulk is the best comic out of the 2 top comic book companies. Hey, Gray Hulk, man. All right, until next time.